Jingles.
Only on ABC. Only on ABC. Only on ABC. Only on ABC.
Come get the best of the USA. Come out and play the American way. The stars by night, the sun by day. It's the American way to play. Las Vegas, any day. Las Vegas in every way. It's the American way to play.
Get on the boat, yeah, banana boat, yeah, the fun tan, suntan banana boat.
When the sun shines, put on the best.
Get on the boat, yeah, banana boat.
With maximum protection through and through. For soft tan skin so beautiful.
Get on the boat, yeah, banana boat, yeah, the fun tan, suntan banana boat, yeah, get on the boat.
Life should be 1 part laughter and 2 parts good times. Life should be 1 part ridiculous and 2 parts sublime. 1 part whistle, 2 parts hum. Life should be 1 part Seagrams, 2 parts fun. Life should be 1 part bargains and 2 parts sales. Life should be money from home and a check in the mail. A double bonus for a job well done. Life should be 1 part Seagrams, 2 parts fun.
Nobody beats the Wiz, yeah. That's just the way it is. Ooh, yeah. Nobody beats the Wiz, yeah.
Nobody beats the Wiz.
That's just the way it is.
Whistle and tight shoes, the whistle and night shoes. Nobody beats the Wiz.
Nobody beats the Wiz.
Nobody beats the whiz, nobody beats the whiz.
What's up, Doc?
Hey everybody, and welcome to Web3 Wednesday. I'm just looking around the dashboard here a little bit. Need to turn a couple things off. Okay, a couple things are off. Hey, how are you? Welcome to Web3 Wednesday. I'm Shelly Palmer, and it's a gorgeous day. This is Wednesday, the 10th of August in 2022. But I tell you what, I went for a walk this morning. Unlike yesterday, when I literally thought I was going to need help from medical professionals to get back home after my 4-mile walk, today was just magnificent. So I hope you're having a great day where you are. I hope it's not too terribly hot. I know it's crazy hot around the country, but I hope it's not too terribly hot where you are. Let's see what's going on today that's really, really cool. Oh, well, we have a lot of things I want to talk about. Chat is where it's at. You know that's what I like to say. So I'm just checking one thing out here and making one thing work so I can see it happen. And there it is. Alrighty. Now I can see all of you. I can see Fernando. Wow, it's like Magic Mirror. David Charmont's welcome. Michael Port, welcome. Jason, welcome. Okay. I'm glad everybody's here. We got that working real quick. So now I'm feeling really good about it. Leslie, welcome. Okay. So chat's where it's at. You want to talk to each other? You want to talk to me? It's an Ask Me Anything Wednesday, so we can do anything we want to do today. A lot of interesting stuff going on. We have a lot to cover. We're gonna cover Amazon and Apple, and we're gonna talk about Roomba and mapping your houses and Paris Hilton's crypto and all kinds of other stuff. Every day that we do this, you know that we do a POAP. POAP, a proof of attendance protocol. Proof of attendance protocol tokens. They're free, of course, they're free. And they get you all kinds of fun stuff. So go to shellypalmer.com/POAP, P-O-A-P. And what you'll be able to do is if you get 5 of these, you'll get on a list that is token gated. And our token gated list, what does it allow you to do? It allows you to get into salons at CES, South by, the upcoming Possible conference in April of 23. Mobile World Congress. I might have already said that. All the major trade events, we do salon dinners, and we do a bunch in major cities. We also will have a really interesting thing to do with our POAPs if you collect enough of them. And we're just going to figure out how many that is. I think it's probably 5, but it might be more than that. We'll have to see. We're going to have token gating into some of our private tours at CES in January. Very excited. The online version of our private tours. So collect enough of these POAPs and, let's see what happens. We're trying to do an engage to earn model and just show it off. There's obviously no cost when you go to mint a POAP. There's no gas fee. It just happens. I'd like you guys to keep the conversations going on Discord. I know that a lot of you are scared of Discord. Don't be scared of Discord. It's super fun. We like Discord. Discord is good. All right, this week we're going to have Metaverse Haves and Metaverse Have-Nots. Metaverse Haves and Metaverse Have-Nots, what does that look like? Well, in practice, Apple has announced that they are going to have their virtual reality, augmented reality headsets hit the market sometime in 23. Wait for it, $2,000 a clip. $2,000 each. That is definitely a good sized chunk of change. They're expecting to sell 1.5 million of them. My suspicion is they're going to sell all 1.5 million of them. I'm on the list right now, and there's no list. I'll jump on it. What does it say? Well, look, I don't think this is, while it obviously 1.5 million units sounds like a lot of units, there's an awful lot of Apple developers worldwide. So much needs to be learned. So much needs to be learned. If you think about the Oculus Quest 2 headset, many of you have those. I know you do. The prices just went up. They're clunky. They're heavy. They do the best they can at making it light enough to wear for a long time, but it's hard. You get that on for a half hour. You know you've had it on. The weight of these headsets has got to come down. Apple understands that. They're going to try and make them lighter. A lot of computational power needs to go into, a ton of computational power. They're going to try and get M1 and M2 chips in there. Okay, they're going to need batteries to power that, and those batteries can't weigh that much, and they have to have a fairly long life, so they've got to work on battery technology. They're going to need antennas in there and good wireless radios, good 5G radio, good Wi-Fi 6 radio. They're going to need a lot of connectivity. So when you think about what has to go in there, it's a frightening amount of tech. They also need to learn how to do it. So my suspicion is they're going to cram as much stuff as they can. It's the, 10 pounds of stuff into a 5-pound bag, and then they're going to try and figure out what you need and what you don't need. Jeff Belinfante, interested in discussing Facebook sharing information on a young woman's abortion of a stillborn fetus. Yeah, that's an interesting information issue. Politically charged topic for me, and I don't know that I want to conflate the two things. The emotional battle between the pro-choice and the anti-choice groups, or however you want to characterize them, and what Facebook should and shouldn't do with information. I think these are two separate things. So if we could separate out the politics for a minute and the highly emotionally charged, very politically charged topics, at the end of the day, Facebook has a duty that they have. It's an impossible duty. You've got 3 out of 4 people on the public internet have accounts on Facebook. Do they use them every day? No. About 1 billion people get on Facebook, more or less, and it's just it's an unconscionably large number with in every language on the globe, basically. And people are doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And if we want Facebook to be a better place, then we need to be better on Facebook. It's that simple. Can they do it with AI? No. Can they do it with the people monitoring? No. Are they highly motivated to get it done? Yeah, because they don't want to get broken up by the government, and they don't want people to leave. And they're not. If you're wondering about, they're doing it only for the money, these guys have lost billions and billions of dollars in market cap, and tens of billions of dollars in revenue because of Apple's ATT, the Apple Tracking Transparency app, or I guess protocol you'd call it, that Apple's put in place that prevents Facebook from tracking you all over, or anybody else for that matter, from tracking you as you travel the internet. And then There's the threat of the third-party cookie thing and all the various, like you have GDPR, California Shield, CCPA, New York Shield Law, the California Privacy Protection Act. There are so many various different rules and regulations that are not fully defined and not well written. I'm not trying to apologize for Facebook. They have a high standard of care that they owe us. They have a high duty. They have taken on a big role, and they have not lived up to it. They just haven't. And I think if you ask anybody there, they would admit that they hadn't. Admitting it doesn't mean they're doing a good job. I don't think they're doing a good job. I actually think they're doing a fairly terrible job. Could anybody do better is the question you have to ask. I don't think they're doing good at this. I don't think they are accomplishing the goal of making this a better Facebook. From a misinformation perspective, from a hate speech perspective, from a bullying perspective, from the propagation of alternative facts. No, they're not. But I don't know if anyone could do better because first of all, full disclosure, Facebook's a client of ours, or Meta, the company formerly known as Facebook. They're trying hard. Are they trying hard enough? No. They'll admit that too. Do we need to hold them accountable? Yes. So that's the lesson there. Okay, moving on. So back to Apple. We've had this really interesting announcement. Is that the metaverse? Cartoon people in a cartoon universe? Is this really what the metaverse is going to be? Is this what Apple's taken us towards? And the answer to that, I think, is a resounding no. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're trying to experiment with communication and entertainment, and I think that's where they want to take this. And my suspicion is that's where they're going to take it, and we're going to learn an awful lot from our friends at Apple. Speaking of things that we can learn a lot from, ShellyPalmer.com, blockchain. There you will find a lot of blockchain resources, good ones. The book is there. That's not the important part. The important part is you having access to the resources that are there. We have a database, a crypto database or a Web3 database that's being updated every day as we work on our standard model of the metaverse is what we're calling it. I don't know what it's ultimately going to be, but the standard model of the metaverse is this idea. It's like a predictive model. It's sort of like the standard model of particle physics or the periodic table of the elements. We're trying to figure out, like, what are all the elements that have to go into the various kinds of metaverses that are observable, the observable metaverses, which go all the way from augmented reality all the way over to virtual reality, or if you are Mark Zuckerberg, from virtual reality all the way over to augmented reality. But one way or the other, all these technologies have to come together, and we're amassing a fairly decent database. So that's there and a bunch of other resources. So ShellyPalmer.com/blockchain will get you there. While we're on the subject of things I want you to do, and while everybody's here today, first of all, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. You see that little Twitter handle, which is there. Boy, that's backwards and upside down. Okay, at Shelly Palmer, right now, if you've got a Twitter account, just do me a favor. Take a screenshot, do something, say hey, talk about Web3 Wednesday, inspire people to come and watch. We're live. Let them know, hey, I'm live watching Web3 Wednesday. I would really help me out. I'm trying to understand the whole Twitter thing. We've been working on this for weeks. Last week was great. Everybody did like one tweet. Some of you were a little disingenuous, which I don't mind. Be positive, be negative. It's the weirdness that I don't. It's like that middle ground. It's like, okay, you told me to tweet. No. Tweet something. So see if we can get something going here. All right, moving on because we got to move on. So Amazon is mapping the world. This is crazy. They are going to spend 1.7 billion with a B, $1.7 billion on Roomba, or iRobot, the company that makes Roomba. And of course, immediately the privacy freakers went, oh my God, they're going to map your whole house. They already have the Ring doorbell, and they already know like what you buy, and they know what you buy from the grocery store. And now they're going to know like every house, every room in your house, and your privacy is gone forever. I don't know. Did we ever have any privacy? Did we? Did we ever have any privacy? Well, if we did ever have any privacy, it's gone now. I would beg you, before getting on the freak out, alarmist, FUD-mongering bandwagon of Alexa's listening and this one's stop. go to the Roomba fact page and understand why the vacuum cleaner maps the room. It's pretty obvious, right? The vacuum cleaner goes around the room and it fumbles its way through and it sort of figures out a pattern. And it knows how to do that because it bumps into something. It kind of goes left, goes right, the same way you do. Ultimately, it maps the room. Takes a couple days. And once the room is mapped, it knows how to clean in a more efficient way. So at least the first 2 inches of the room will be mapped. Does that help Amazon? Do they know that there's a dresser there? Do they know there's a bed there? Do they know there's a dog in the way? There's a variant and an invariant map it will certainly make. Data is more powerful than the presence of other data. So if there's a way that Amazon will ever use that data, ever, they'll be using it to make better predictions about what you might buy or what you might want. So their goal, because they don't sell their data or even really share it without having their arm twisted, their entire goal is to just be a more efficient version of whatever Amazon is. You might like that or hate that. You may think that's a good idea or a bad idea. Well, the company's using data to get bigger. It's like, yeah. By the way, share basket analysis is something every retailer has done. I grew up in a retail music store. Every night, my dad would go through the invoices for the receipts from the day. They used to handwrite the receipts. This one bought a clarinet. This one rented a trumpet. Trying to understand what the customers were doing. He wasn't as sophisticated as we are today. He didn't really, I mean, everybody lived in and around the stores. So it wasn't about geographic understanding. Everybody lived within 10 miles of any one of the stores that we owned that would shop in it. It was rare that someone would come in. If it was farther than that back in the day, people made a phone call and, bought it in a very nascent version of mail order. But I remember distinctly seeing my dad sit at his desk pretty much every night, going over, share a basket and trying to figure out what he should order and making some predictions. And while he wasn't using, calculus or any kind of predictive analytics that we would recognize today, he had his own mathematical charts, and his own mathematical approach to share basket analysis. And the value for that for him was twofold. One, adjust inventory in advance to get a sense, see the patterns, what's selling, what time of year. It was all calendar based. And I learned a lot about how to buy and stock for the store and how to keep from being out of stock of certain items. We had the first time I ever saw Zipfian distribution was going over record 45 RP. You'll never remember. I mean, nobody here is this old. There used to be records called that were 45 revolutions per minute, 45 RPMs. They're called 45s. A big hole in the middle. Those are the big hole. Little record, big hole. 7-inch record. And we had them in browser bins, and we had hits, like the top 10 hits were right at the cash register, the 1 through 10, and that was changed out. But then the question was how many of every other record, because we had LPs also, needed to be in the store. One to show, one to go. Like, what did you need to have? And we had a real live mathematical Zipfian distribution, the same way that the topographers used. So predictive analytics go back a long way, and I just remember from my childhood. And Grand Two-Time Press. It's Charlie, right? Charlie's saying some of us are that old. Yeah, I appreciate that, Charlie. I really do. The end of the day, Amazon is trying to get share basket analysis and every other predictive tool they can get to have a high confidence level in how they can most efficaciously approach you without torturing you. They'd like to be aggressive and non-anxiety provoking in the way they recommend stuff. That's their thing. You want to know who's not using data correctly? This week we had both Experian and Equifax. It was a class action suit and a giant admission that they had been incorrectly doing credit scores. Incorrectly doing credit scores. You have no recourse. You have no recourse. When Equifax scores you improperly, it's one thing. It is one thing for Amazon to map a room and you get all up in arms. Oh, wow, Amazon, the evil empire. I like to say that Amazon is like Alien from the movie. Has acid for blood, eats everything it sees, kills whatever it wants, can live in any environment, breathes out at your industry. It's over for you. But that's just me. forget Amazon. You want to get up in arms about some data privacy, go look at Equifax and Experian. Just Google them, see what they're doing, and see if you want to write to one of your elected officials to get up in their face, because those guys need someone getting up in their face. Speaking of things that you need to get up in your face, we had an interesting, I think pretty interesting, this week, Instagram anointed, I mean literally, you know, oil on the head and kind of the Flow blockchain. They were like, you know what, guys, we're loving Ethereum, we're loving Polygon, and now we're loving Flow. And I think they're going to support Solana at a certain point. So what you're going to have is Flow, which is the blockchain. It's an open blockchain, but it's kind of the proprietary blockchain of the Dapper Labs guys. That's the Crypto Kitties, Cheese Wizards, and of course NBA Top Shot. And they've sort of just said, we love these guys. When somebody the size of Meta anoints a currency or anoints a blockchain, that's a big deal. Now, there are like 19,000 cryptocurrencies. It's an estimate. I'm making that number up. It's giant. But I mean, it's in that order of magnitude. It's around 19,000 cryptocurrencies. There won't be for long, but there are. There are hundreds of blockchains. I have no estimation of how many blockchains there are, but there's about 5 of them that are meaningful, and they've got definitely Ethereum and Polygon are incredibly valuable. Flow, they deserve it because of who they are. I mean, Dapper Labs has done an amazing job from the beginning. They are about as big a deal in the NFT world as you can be. So yeah, I understand that. But when Solana's doing its best, so a lot of the cool kids are over at Solana writing a lot of code. They write it in Rust compiler, Rust C, and they write it in Rust. They're amazingly good engineers working over there. Very good, very solid engineers. So yeah, let's see what happens. But Instagram anointing certain chains, that's really interesting. What do we got here? What is this question? Let us see this question. Do I see the possibility of a master streaming search catalog that's a single interface versus the current Meta Roku search engines that point to the... Wow. Okay, we're going to get to that. Thank you, Jason P. I like that. It's a good question. I don't have an answer for you right now, but I'm going to have an answer for you in a little bit. That's pretty cool. I'm putting back up my Twitter handle. Don't forget to tweet. Do not forget to tweet. Don't forget to tweet now. Tweeting. Okay. Along the silly with NFTs this past week. This I like. More celeb fun facts. Okay, this past week, you know that I was all up about Kim Kardashian and the lawsuit with the Emacs, that disaster where she was, and I cared about that lawsuit a lot because she had a pretty decent disclaimer where she was saying, hey, this isn't financial advice, please don't take it that way. But my friends who know crypto say this, like, was that enough of a disclaimer? That's the big question. So this week there's this amazing article on CNET CNBC financial site. I'm reading this for you now just so I can read it. So let me see if I get this for you. All right, we have Kim Kardashian. Matt Damon rode Bitcoin down 60% after he did his Fortune Favors the Brave campaign for Crypto.com. So that's not his fault. So CNBC, that's not his fault. Mike Tyson, his own collection of NFTs, down 95% from when he started hawking them, and there's almost no trading volume. Am I surprised? I don't know. Reese Witherspoon, down 75% since her partnership was announced with World of Women NFTs, and their prices are down in the same 75% area. Nick Carter, this is the one that got me, the Backstreet Boy. Remember Nick Carter? He was touting Safe Moon tokens, which he pumped. Now they're down 99%. He wrote in that one tweet, nerding out on crypto for years now. I don't know. That's bothersome to me. How do you feel about this? Paris Hilton's going to sell NFTs and hold virtual parties in the Sandbox. That's a metaverse from our friends at Animoca Brands. Yeah. How we like that? Are we into that? Right now, just tell me in chat if you could even you could even deal with this. The idea of attending a Paris Hilton party in the metaverse. Yeah. I don't know if that's really going to be a thing I want to see, but she's going to do it. She has made apparently $3-4 million in NFTs this year, which is a very good thing to have done in 1 year. I mean, this is a pretty, and her company 1111 Media is going to bring, what are we reading here, to the world. Oh, they're bringing a thing called The Land. Now, I actually remember Paris Hilton doing a thing in Roblox that was really successful. So I want to be like as snarky and pejorative as I can here. And I'm not, I mean, every time I mention Paris Hilton, somebody makes a ridiculous remark about, let's say they've seen her best work. But I got to say, let me see if I can find the Roblox numbers. I know they're going to be on this page somewhere. Roblox. I know she did that thing, Neon Carnival, that was right around Coachella. Okay, here it is. This is worth reading. Roblox said Hilton's virtual world had been visited by nearly 544,000 fans, but there's no word on the revenue. Okay, we don't know if she made any money, but what we do know is that she had a pretty good showing, actually a very good showing. Your questions. Happy to take them, and we're going to get to Jason's question in a minute. What do we got here, Tom? You're saying 90, but there won't be soon. They won't go away, though. Blockchain is forever, right? Immutable, and most are built on ETH anyway. Okay, let us... Oh, that's a really good... Such a good question. Tom, here's the thing. Blockchains are only forever if there are nodes that are... if there are nodes that are up keeping the blockchain alive. So without validator nodes, without an active group of engineers keeping it alive, it may not be alive forever. That's thing one. I mean, they're hard to kill. I'm not saying they're not hard to kill. They're hard to kill, but entropy can take over and it can just stop being a thing. When the last of the self-healing mesh network client server nodes is gone, it's gone. That's thing one. Thing two, it may not be gone, but it could trade at like 0.00000000326 cents forever, and be delisted by any place and not be find like. They can go into what we would call relative obscurity, and they will. The vast majority of those 19,000 cryptocurrencies are not actively traded in any way. It's hard to find them on an exchange, a KYC exchange. You might find them available with some amount of minimal liquidity in some of the decentralized pools, but maybe not. You remember, to make a market, you got to have people that are providing liquidity to the market. Someone's got to be willing to buy if you're willing to sell, and vice versa. Otherwise, there's no market. So if it's illiquid, that's another way that you can, the blockchain may still be out there and the coins may still exist, but if there's nobody who wants them and there's no liquidity and they're not valued and they're not tradable, it's the equivalent of holding a share of stock, a paper share of stock from a company that just ceases to do anything and doesn't say it's out of business. Yeah, so it's still in business and it's still filing a tax return, but it's not generating revenue and there's no one who wants to trade the shares and there's no market. So stuff dies. Stuff definitely dies. Immutability doesn't mean viability. I think a lot of people, there was a long time where people were thinking, oh, well, if it's on the blockchain, it's true. It's like, that's nonsense. You can write a lie to the blockchain and everyone's going to agree that you wrote that to the blockchain. They may know it's a lie, they may not know it's a lie, but one way or the other, what they can't tell you is whether it's true or false. All they can tell you is that everyone agrees this got written to the blockchain. And talking people out of that was really hard because everybody believed. So, well, it's written to the blockchain, it's true. This is a way to ensure truth. It's like, what? No, it isn't. What's a way to do is it's a way to ensure that everybody agrees. All the consensus mechanism has worked, and everyone agrees this is block 9. That's what's true. Everyone agrees that this is block 9. What's written in block 9 could be utter and total nonsense. There's no truth there. And it's the same thing here. Everybody's thinking, okay, blockchains are forever. Not really. Crypto's forever. Not really. What you put in a distributed network that's self-healing, what you put in a peer-to-peer network, if there are active peers, and how do you get them active? Wait, you set up a reward mechanism where they get some value back for being online and having their computational power available to you, right? So the client server nodes are everywhere. I think there are 11,000 Bitcoin nodes, and they keep Bitcoin alive. It's the 11,000 validator nodes that come together, and that's the consensus mechanism. When fully written, the block lives in 11,000 different, blockchain lives in 11,000 different places. You can kill any 20 of them, any 50 of them, any 500 of them. You probably kill any 5,000 of them, and the network would still be okay. And then other people could just pick it up whenever they want to pick it up. That's what self-healing is about. That's what a mesh network is about. So that part is all true. How will you motivate, call it 3,000, 4,000 people with computers to leave their computer online all the time and be part of your network and keep a copy of your blockchain and pay the electricity and pay the air conditioning and pay the people to make sure that they have the latest software, that everything is patched and that it's fully secure? You think that that doesn't happen? Of course it happens. It happens on every single healthy blockchain. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people with computers, and you know these are exactly the people you think they are. They have pocket protectors for their pens, and they don't get out much. What they do is they toil the machines and patch them properly and make sure they're secure. And they are ensuring the power and promise of the blockchains that you are enjoying, and then they get paid for it. And how do we pay them? We pay them with cryptocurrency, right? If you give us a little bandwidth and you put in a little time and you give us a little bit of your hard drive, in the case of a blockchain, a lot of your hard drive, then you can earn cryptocurrency as a value exchange. That's the way that works. So yeah, it's not quite what it seems. Doug R is asking a great question here. Doug R is asking, is crypto winter over? I don't know. Let's see. Is crypto winter over? Hold on. Let me look. I have my little document here that says, no. I'm only half joking. What you got is Ethereum's at 1829. That's up from $1,000 a couple weeks ago. Bitcoin's at 23,947. That's up from about $20,000 a few weeks ago. Matic is, which is the Polygon Network's utility token, that's up to 93 cents today. That's up 13% on the day, which is nice. It's the only thing in the green. Everything else is not. So yeah, it's not a great time for the crypto peeps. What else is going on here? Anything else here really exciting? Cardano. Cardano is like $1 off its high, almost $2 off its high. It's at 53 cents. Polkadot, oh my goodness, it's at 50% down from when it was. It's been as high as like $20. It's trading at $9.53. Big disappointment. Chainlink, utility token, Link, the utility token of Chainlink. That's $9.22. That was a $35 token back in the day. Oops. Do we care? Do we care? No, we don't. We don't. Why don't we care? We don't care because cryptocurrency is going to have to go through a whole cycle of the charlatans getting taken out of the game. And until they are gone, we are not going to have kind of enjoy the stuff that we need to enjoy. You know, all the people who were getting rich quick over the internet, they were more in the stock market back in 99 and 2000. But they were stock market speculators. These are ordinary people because the tools allow ordinary people. But all the people who are trying to get rich quick have to go away. They just have to go. Another question here. Celebrities monetizing their celebrity status, not very interesting. How about real companies or startups making money? That is amazing. So, Eric, here's what I think. The sports leagues are making money because they are transferring real value. You've got people who have giant communities around them. In the case of sports leagues, they're communities of passion. I'm passionate about football. I'm passionate about basketball. I'm passionate about hockey. And inside of those communities of passion, you've got rabid fans who are willing to wear their clothes, wear their car, wear their beer, and of course wear their NFTs. They want to proudly display. They want to become deeply involved in their communities of passion. Their digital collectibles, a new asset class, have given rabid fans and collectors a new opportunity to have a new class of collectible, and they have jumped on it. And we've seen an awful lot of money change hands, and in a good way. These same smart contracts are going to empower different kinds of questing and loyalty programs and gaming that are true to the Web3 ethos all by itself. Then you're going to have traditional gambling and traditional gaming. You're going to see fantasy sports. You will see the very beginnings of the physical and digital worlds coming together, game-worn memorabilia, which will have digital twins for authenticity. So you might have a game jersey that was worn by a player, and with a NFC chip sewn into the garment, or somehow permanently incorporated into the garment. And then you'd have a digital twin. Will you be able to use this digital twin in Roblox or the Sandbox or Decentraland or a different metaverse? That's unclear. The digital twin will certainly be able to sit in a locker somewhere as we get some standards for the metaverse, and as avatars become standardized, and as we start to understand how to put that jersey on either your fantasy player or you or your avatar, or like, as we get to be able to use these digital collectibles, whether they're digital twins or just only digital collectibles, it's going to be really interesting. It's a very early days. There's so much technology that is yet to be built, and it's being built at a pace I've never seen before, but it's not built yet. So I don't have a way to take a digital twin of a physical item and use it in every metaverse. I might be able to use it in one person's virtual world, but maybe not someone else's. Is that always going to be true? Maybe. I mean, there may be some reason why I can't do something in Decentraland that I can do in the Sandbox, or vice versa. It wouldn't be unusual. For years and years and years, when you bought a Sony item, it would not work with a Yamaha item. And when you bought a Yamaha piece of electronics, it did not work with a Samsung piece of electronics. And this was by design. Everybody wanted to own the entire ecosystem. Sony made tape recorders and playback decks. They made everything for audio video consumption, as did Yamaha. Everything. As did Samsung. And every one of these companies was motivated to keep, they wanted you to have their refrigerators at Samsung. They didn't want you to have an LG refrigerator. So if you got a Samsung TV, let me motivate you with all this extra compatibility and interoperability. I never want to work with those. What actually changed that game? Anybody? Put it in chat if you know what changed that game. It's a real simple single thing. Brought to you by our friend at the company we were talking about earlier. One thing, just one. Let's see, background, people, looking. Wow, so many great questions. Chat's so active. Let's see if I can answer another question. Oh, here's one. Okay, yes. It was Amazon Echo. Once you were Echo compatible, that was it. All of a sudden you were interoperable. It was not what any of the big companies wanted, but the interoperability was forced by consumer demand, and it was empowered by one third party that had nothing to do with anybody. All of a sudden, everybody wants to be Echo compatible, and then boom, once you're Echo compatible, by default, you're interoperable with your competitors. And it just drove everything forward. So I don't know that you'll ever be able to take an avatar that you built for Decentraland and use it everywhere. But soon enough, you'll be able to use it in enough places that if we get there, that this will start to feel like a new world. And if we don't get there, then we don't get there. It's hard to say. Another question from Steve K. Steve, has crypto been around long enough for us to differentiate weather from climate? I think not. We are in the strangest economic time of my lifetime. 2008 was a crisis, but you understood what it was a crisis of. The financial system was imperiled due to some bad decisions they had made on housing, and everybody understood what it was. Supply chain was intact. The rest of the universe was intact. The way the money moved around the universe was not intact, and a lot of people got called to the carpet on what financial instruments that should probably never existed or have been regulated in a more robust way. But the world was understandable. You could say what I just said, that while it was happening, everybody knew what it was. I've yet to find a human being who can tell me how the employment numbers hit 575,000 this month. Gas prices are down $1. Everything else is still crazy high. In some case, you've got board feet of lumber coming down. I'm trying to get a renovation done in my house, and when I started planning it, it was over 500. Was it $500 per unit of board feet that they trade in, and it's come down to the $400 level. The whole budget has been reworked because the 20% reduction in the board foot price of lumber to do the work. So in a 2.5 month period, like we're sitting there going, we're never going to be able to afford this, to, oh, that's good. Back to the old days. It's in pre-pandemic levels with the kind of lumber they need. So it's like, this is a really interesting time. So can I tell the weather from the climate regarding crypto? I can't tell the weather from the climate regarding the universe. So Steve, I mean, I wish I was that arrogant where I could say something like I know what I'm talking about. I haven't found anybody that can explain where we are right now. I just can't. So what I do know is that there are far too many cryptos that don't have utility and far too many NFTs that don't have utility. And without utility, it may be very valuable to the issuer, but it's not valuable to the owner. I see so many music NFT projects going out right now that really piss me off. I mean, really hard, because what's happening is they're exploiting the most vulnerable. To, give me $25 for this, give me $19 for that, give me $26 for that, and they're getting these in. You'll own Nas is doing this thing, Nas, depending on how you pronounce it. You're buying a 1.5% of what? I went to buy that NFT just to understand the process and what the offer was. That's just criminal. Am I getting 1.5% of his 23%? Am I getting, which he doesn't really have? Are they going to put $1 million worth of production costs on top of that before they start distributing? What are they really distributing? Like, they're so ambiguous with what they're writing. Like, that's got to stop. So I don't need to know the weather or the climate to know that that's got to stop. That can't go forward. I don't mean to call out Nas, but yeah, I do mean to call him out. I just don't see that. I just don't see that. So as long as people are issuing NFTs for their own remuneration and not valuable to the users of those NFTs, those smart contracts don't have real utility. This is not going anywhere good. But you can see the pockets where it's going exactly where it's supposed to go. That's cool. And unsurprisingly, sports is leading the way. And entertainment, I think, is going to follow. They'll get it right. I mean, everyone's going to get this right at a certain point. Just a quick reminder today, we're doing POAPs. I keep using the Neon Cat stinger. Sorry about that. I should use a different one. I'll use a different one going back. Okay. ShellyPalmer.com/POAP is going to get you your proof of attendance protocol token. Collect five, and good things will happen for you. So we'll be able to just ask you to do that. You fill in a little form, and we'll send you the POAP probably in the morning. There's so much I didn't cover today. I didn't tell you about Techstream, which I always try to tell you about. That drops on Tuesdays. Hope you do that. We need to cover Walmart. We didn't cover Walmart. We didn't cover the question that Jason asked about streaming television and fast. We'll have to cover that all next week. I would be remiss if I didn't beg you to donate to the Ukraine. ShellyPalmer.com/Ukraine takes you to a site that the Today Show put up. NBC's social responsibility group has a set of vetted charities. Please, 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 if you can find it anywhere in your heart to donate. I know it's not in the news every day, but that war is going fast and furious, and these people are displaced. And if it were us, we would be hoping someone would help us. So I hope you will help them. This is my absolute favorite time of week. I'll put that back up so people can have the thing. This is my absolute favorite time of week. If you didn't get what you needed today, if I didn't get to your question, I see so many of them. Shelly at ShellyPalmer.com. You can absolutely send me an email. But, see this? At Shelly Palmer. Do it on Twitter. I'll answer it on Twitter. Just make the Twitter thing work. Like, I'll be super happy if you make the Twitter thing work. Because right now, the Twitter thing, as far as I'm concerned, is like a giant waste of time. It's like this black hole where stuff goes in and nothing ever comes out. At Shelly Palmer. That would be the cool thing to do. And don't forget to get your Poe app. I really appreciate everybody being here. And next week, I promise we will cover off on the stuff we missed, and I look forward to seeing you then. So, questions, Shelly at ShellyPalmer.com. Go see the blockchain stuff. Go to Techstream, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much.